Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the anime Tiger and Bunny. And this anime is kind of weird in that it's got a great idea for a premise, but it doesn't execute it in any way that makes it either really bad or really good. It's an anime that I don't feel like I need to recommend you to watch, but I wouldn't recommend you to not watch. It's very weird. So, the premise is there's this city of Sternbild, and they have this hero TV station, and they've got all these heroes that are pretty much sponsored by various corporations, and they go around stopping crime and all that stuff. And that's an interesting premise. Like, do these heroes help people, or do they act more in the best interest of their corporate overlords? The weird kind of thing that occurs in this, however, is that I watched it on Netflix. And that advertisements, which are part of the kind of like fun and the cheap shots for it, are taken off of the superheroes. And it's like, okay. We still get them interacting with their sponsors and all of that, but you don't really see it on their costumes like in the original. It was just a very strange way to do it. I'm like, okay. So, we see all these different heroes, and they've all got pretty interesting powers, and we see Wild Tiger. And they're going on this routine one, and Wild Tiger's in a predicament, and this one new hero comes out of nowhere, and his name's Barnaby. And we're getting like the hero rankings, and of course, Wild Tiger's pretty much last, and we find out that his corporation's been bought out, and he gets sucked up into this other corporation and is partnered with Barnaby, who is just going by his regular name, but Wild Tiger, of course, nicknames him Bunny because of the ears on his suit, and they give him a new suit, and they have the same powers. This 100 power where for 5 minutes they can have, like, increased agility, strength, resistance to damage, and all that kind of stuff. Is like, okay, that's pretty cool. So, they're kind of just going through different hero stuff, kind of working out and clashing heads. These two are the best kind of like developed characters, but they don't really develop them that much. We learned that Wild Tiger has this daughter, Kaede, and he puts more stock into his hero adventures more than like doing stuff with his daughter, but that we find out later on in the series is because he made the promise to be a hero to his wife that died. And, of course, Kaede doesn't know this. Only the grandmother and his brother know that he's doing stuff as a superhero. And, of course, we see that Barnaby, his whole motivation for being a hero is to find the person who killed his parents. And, of course, that is pretty much the big mystery in the first 12 episodes. And we find the supposed killer of his parents, this Jake Martinez dude, connected to this organization of Ouroboros. And, of course, this one woman pretty much holds the city hostage and wants Jake to be released. And they do it. They release him, and we find out that they're together, but they're more of the vein of stupid Joker and Harley kind of ripoff. It's you can really tell because she calls him Mr. Jake. She's not completely Harley Quinn-like, but she can control teddy bears to control mech suits, which is what they used to hold the city hostage with. So, of course, we find out that Jake's got a lot of control over force fields. And they had captured one of the heroes because he has had the ability to shapeshift and was shapeshift as the helicopter pilot. And they're going in. Barnaby, of course, hits Wild Tiger for ruining a plan to like get Jake. But I'm like, you didn't know Jake's powers. How are you going to catch him? Because once he's using like his what they think are lasers but are force fields at like super high rate, they get out. It's like, what the hell? So, of course, he then challenges the heroes one by one to a duel and beats all of them, even Wild Tiger. But he's able to use his powers to heal himself enough to get to Barnaby, and at first he says that he's got 2 powers, and that it's like super hearing, and gives Barnaby this grenade to finish up his fight. But of course, Wild Tiger was using reverse psychology on him, and they use it, and instead of like, it's a kind of 2-pronged bomb, and it was using it for like Sonic, and then it flashed to like blind him, and Barnaby was able to like get him into a compromised position. He's like, okay. So as they're like trying to like capture him, he's like hanging off the side of a building, and of course crap ensues, and the helicopter comes, crashes him, and they're able to capture his girlfriend. He's like, okay. And then of course Wild Tiger's explaining to Barnaby, well, I never said what my true name was. Nobody really knows my identity, but he called me Kotetsu. It's like, yeah, he was a mind reader. He's got 2 powers. And of course everybody's all happy and everything, and we get into the next kind of like story arc, and we find out that it wasn't Jake that killed his parents. His memories are going crazy. And it's like, what? And we find out that he had kidnapped the woman that was his girlfriend. I don't even know if they were like really together, but she was completely infatuated with him because he kidnapped her for a ransom. And that was on the same day that Barnaby's parents were killed. So they're going through, and we find out that Maverick is a Next as well. Next being the term for the people with superpowers, and is controlling, like, is able to control people's memories. So he, like, pretty much gets Barnaby back into his position because he would pretty much figured out that it was Maverick, and memory wipes all the rest of the heroes, and tries to turn the whole city on Kotetsu. Wild Tiger, it's like, you only, like, memory wiped a few select people, and it was just really weird that I don't think that they would be able to actually really turn, like, oh, Wild Tiger, Kotetsu is a villain. It's like, okay. It's just, it was, like, really kind of condensed, and really didn't, the execution of it kind of, like, strained believability. It's like, I don't know about that. So he is able to get everybody kind of, like, back to normal, because we find out that Kaede has the ability to mimic people's powers. That's her next power, because Kotetsu went back to his hometown because his powers have been diminishing, similar to Mr. Legend, his hero, who had got him to be a superhero. So he was contemplating retirement and all that, and he was going to do it, but he wanted to help out Barnaby first. And of course Kaede came to help her father because her grandmother finally told her about him being a hero, and she touched Mr. Maverick, because Maverick thought incorrectly that she was there to see Barnaby. And she uses the powers to reverse the mind wipe on all the heroes and the person behind, like, Hero TV, and it only didn't work on Barnaby. But yet, Wild Tiger Kotetsu is able to jog his memory. They get back, they're going to fight Maverick, and we find out he's made an army of android robots to pretty much take over the hero stuff. That he had made Ouroboros himself, that he had killed Barnaby's parents because they were going to turn him in, and that he's doing this pretty much for ratings, control the hero side and the villain side to essentially get rich. But Kotetsu and Barnaby are able to defeat one of the robots. Kaede is able to get out of being captured by the dude that does the robots, created them, and he had also had the rest of the heroes locked up as well, but they're able to get out of there. And of course, Mr. Maverick's trying to do what he does. We get a point where we think Kotetsu's dead, but he's not. And they get Maverick dead to rights, and he mind wipes himself. And it's like, okay, saw that coming. And it's funny, we think that, like, Wild Tiger's gonna kind of quit being a hero, but he, even though he can only power up for less than 5 minutes now, and at the end, we see that Maverick was being taken off, and this one hero, Lunatic, kills him, who is related to Mr. Legend because he was his son, and when Mr. Legend was losing the powers, similar to Kotetsu, he was beating on his mother and got his powers and killed his father. And that's what's put his brand of justice. But nothing is done with him. Nothing is really done with the other characters. One character, Rock Bison, I didn't even know what the hell his power was. I had to Wikipedia it, that he can, like, make himself invulnerable. That's like, okay. And they end the series with Kotetsu being in the second Hero League because he can only power up for about a minute. And, of course, Barnaby then comes out of retirement because he needs to have his partner. So, that's where the series ends, at least for like the 20-some episodes that were by 2 seasons by what Netflix tells me, but I was able to watch it all, and I'm like, okay. Because the lunatic guy wasn't really delved into, because I'm like, that's interesting. And they could have delved into that more, because it's like, wow, okay, this hero who you think is like this big, he's called Mr. Legend for crying out loud, not the hero that you thought he was. Nothing was really done with his son to really warrant his inclusion much, and the rest of the heroes are just kind of like blank there. Kotetsu and Barnaby are the ones that get the most kind of like character development, and it's really kind of shallow at that. But saying that, it doesn't do anything completely and utterly horrible either. The animation's great. I really love how they are able to fuse the hand-drawn with the CGI. The CGI does not distract at all. It actually melds very well, especially with like the suits and like special attacks and all that kind of stuff that are done. I gotta hand it to him for that. But I wouldn't tell you to actively avoid this if you need something to watch and like, oh, I kind of want to watch something with superheroes. It's a good, like, 20-some odd episode thing to watch, and you'll be okay for it. You won't feel like you got gypped at anything, but you won't feel that you've watched something really great. So, I wouldn't be like, avoid this at all costs, or watch this, it's amazing. It's more like, it's there. If you need something, go for it. If you don't, don't. So, those are my opinions on the anime. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.